Jen, sounds like you're driving.
I am driving, isn't that? But I'm not on video, so like I'm safely driving
Right.
with both hands on the steering wheel and like on Bluetooth. So
That's
like
good.
yeah.
So if you're watching on YouTube, which we're now putting our shows on YouTube, you will see that Jen is not driving. The reason she sounds like she's in a car is because she actually is in a car. And we are doing this little segment here. I know this is where the Winty banter comes in from the part of the show. We kind of pull something funny and stick it here to introduce the show. Well, about 2 to 3 hours after we did our podcast, something happened to Disney. They dropped what's called the Genie. Jen, did your phone blow up? Did you get any messages about it?
I did. I got a few messages, and then like I checked Facebook, and I had like a zillion messages.
Right.
And I was like, of course.
Of course.
Today when I had like a lunch meeting and all these other things, and I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
So anyway, we wanted to come on and just say that when you listen to the episode itself, when we talk about fast passes and stuff, just ignore us because we didn't know what we were talking about. We did then, but now we don't because the Genie is out. Next week, we're going to talk about the Genie in depth. We're going to talk all about it. We've got some great stuff coming up for us, some webinars, some things, some fact-finding missions, because honestly, we don't know a lot about the Genie other than what's on Disney Parks blog. And there's so many questions I have that aren't answered yet. So we'll definitely dive into that next week.
We've got some trainings this week. We will find out. So
Absolutely. Got some trainings coming up. So we'll be doing that. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Hey, pay attention to the contact info for Jen and I and for the show. Follow us there. We're going to be updating all along as we learn stuff and everything. And anyway, so I'll let you guys know that's what's going to happen later on the show. We talk about fast passes. Yep. We didn't know it then, but we know about the Genie now. So you guys enjoy the show. Jen, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we proudly present our spectacular show, a podcast magic and imagination full of Disney wonder, news, and pop culture. It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast with Jen Novotny and David Dollar.
Good morning, Jen.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. You've had your coffee, I'm assuming.
I have absolutely had my coffee.
I've got my Dunkin' here. Did my run and go get my Dunkin'.
Nice.
On the diet. I'm not really supposed to have flavored iced coffee, but I'm like, if I'm going to run a mile to 2 miles a day, this kind of balances it out.
Yeah, okay, you're good.
Back from Cancun. Have you fully recovered from Cancun since you've been relaxing all week?
Oh yeah. I just got back from Cancun. I was like, oh, let's just chill out. I got nothing to do.
Have you been basically running nonstop like I have been doing?
I mean, basically.
Yeah, that's it.
I think yesterday afternoon, I kind of hit a point where I was like, okay, like I'm good. Like, I think I'm like sort of back in balance and like normal, like normal crazy as opposed to like, back from Cancun crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of me. I mean, there were so many emails I had because with Cancun, and I think you're like this too. Nobody wants to make payments on public Wi-Fi in Mexico. So people are like, would you mind making a payment? I will, but I'm going to wait till I get back because I don't want to charge your car this hotel is secure. It's safe. I trust it, but just in case.
I really don't do it on any public Wi-Fi.
I wouldn't do it at a Four Seasons in Kissimmee, Florida either.
Exactly. And you should appreciate that. Like,
what's funny though is I did call Disney. I had to call Disney a couple times to make some payments that had to be made. I did. I got through. Talked to Disney and everything. Well, when I went back to my recent calls, when I got back to hit the button, whatever, it gave me the Spanish blah 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 blah.
Oh, that's so
and then I realized, I have to redial now to basically set up the new call. It was dialing because I looked at it. It was like Mexico.
It was using dial assist.
Exactly.
It was using dial
assist. So I was really confused. But so how'd you Disney this week?
Well, I Disney this week by adding last week for Cancun, I Disneyed by getting my Ratatouille like annual pass holder preview.
Yep.
Then I realized that I needed to bump up my flights and like adjust my hotel stay, and there were no deluxes available that I wanted to like. Not without like them being like crazy, like even beyond what Jen will do. So I did book my stay at the Grand Destino Tower for the first night.
Nice. Very nice. Well, that's a moderate. Are you okay with that? I mean,
the tower is like a new build and it feels a lot more deluxe.
It's like deluxe simile, basically, faux deluxe almost.
It's like plus, it's like moderate plus in the tower. So
you can probably squint your eyes and fool yourself into thinking this is deluxe. I'm in deluxe.
No, I won't totally, but I do like the vibe of Coronado. Like I will say, like if if I'm
Yep.
not staying deluxe, like
Right.
I'm okay with Grand Destino.
Yeah,
It's very
I like Grand Destino. I joke, but
I
Grand
really
Destino
like
is
it.
great. It's a beautiful
really is good.
resort,
Mhm.
especially when you're in the higher floors. I think we were on the 5th floor last
yeah, it actually has
last
really pretty
February.
views.
It's really pretty.
Mhm.
My niece works there, by the way. So if
Oh,
you go
does
into
she?
if you go into the Rick's Bar and Grill, and this is for
Yes.
anybody, go into the Rick's Bar and Grill, which by the way, Coronado has a fabulous food court area. The long hallway, we got the bar
They
and grill,
do.
you have the market, you
Mhm.
have the dining, the
Mhm.
table service, whatever. You have the I want to say Three Broomsticks. It's like the Three Bridges
I
or
know,
whatever.
yeah, the
Seven
Three
Bridges. Seven Bridges
Yeah,
Road, whatever
it is.
They're in the middle of the water with that great. It's a great,
Yeah.
great photo opportunity as well. Great pictures
Yes.
taken there. But go into the Rick's Bar and Grill. If you see Madeline,
Oh,
make sure you tell her the Main Street Electrical Podcast Center. Tell her that David says hello.
I will
Madeline
go
works
find
there.
Madeline whenever I
Go
am
find
there.
Madeline. She's wonderful. Her nickname is Nugget. And you can ask her, why is your nickname Nugget? She's got a fun little story there about working at
That
Disney.
sounds like
She's
fun.
one of those, this is her dream job. She is just
Oh.
over the moon working at Disney. Like
Wow.
I told her family, I told my wife, our the aunt,
Mhm.
years ago when she got in the college program, I'm like,
Mhm.
as soon as she gets the chance, she's going to graduate college and get there as quick as possible. And she's never coming back.
Yeah.
Once again, I was right. Like you say
You
all
were
the time,
right.
Jen, you're right, David Dahl. You were right. So
Oh yeah, I forgot when
get
I
that a
said
lot.
that all the time.
So for me,
Hmm.
by the way, my shirt came in, my Disney shirt, my 50th
Yay!
shirt. Yes. Oh, you can't. There it is.
Oh wait, no, it's like I can see it, but I can't see it. There.
There we go. Yes, you can see the pattern there.
Yay!
Anyway, my 50th shirt came in. I'm so excited. It's I purchased it on one of those little. It's not really an Etsy shop, but I can see it
Mhm.
being like an Etsy type shop where they
Yeah.
they just take Disney fabric and make clothes out of it. It's an extra large. I actually realized I ordered extra large within minutes. I got in touch with them. I'm like, I ordered the wrong size. Can I order a large? And they were like, your order's already been processed. I'm like, it's been 7 minutes. What the heck? So she was supposed to give me a refund, and yet she sent me this. So now I'm wondering, am I going to get a large in the mail and then have to deal with that or whatever?
Oh
But
dear.
I'm excited about the shirt. I can tell you that the material itself, I feel like I'm going to get a couple of wears out of this before it's done. But I'm going to wear it on the 50th. I'm really excited. And so
That's
we're
awesome.
ready for the 50th. Our 50th
Yeah.
plans are all coming in place. 44 days as of right now.
Oh my
until the 50th.
gosh.
It's exciting.
Can't believe it.
So we got a great show coming up a little bit later on today. We're going to be talking to John Rogers, the host of
Mhm.
Travel Tips Tuesday. It's a good friend of mine. We'll be talking about Hollywood studios. But first, let's get on some news real quick. All right, so I got a list of topics here, Jen, and we'll just kind of
Okay.
throw them out and kind of talk about them. The Main Street Electrical Parade rumor is possibly returning to Disneyland. Rumor.
Oh my gosh.
So thoughts on that? Maybe?
Okay, so if it's true, I have
Rumor?
like mixed feelings. Yeah, rumor. So if it's true, number one, excited because love the nighttime parades. Number two, also like this thing will never die because it was around. It was like we're retiring it. It's gone. Just kidding, we're bringing it back.
Yep.
Just kidding, it's over at Disney World. Now, this is really the last run. It is never, ever coming back. And I was out there, we're like, oh, goodbye, Electrical Parade. And now, like, if it really does come back, I will laugh because it's like the zombie that never.
You know, my grandfather used to tell me 3 things are certain in life: death, taxes, and the Main Street Electrical
Yeah.
Parade.
That's an axiom for the ages.
Really, when the nuclear war
Wow.
happens, nothing will be available, nothing will be left alive except for cockroaches and a bunch of electrical parade floats sitting
That's
over there.
exactly it.
What's funny is I feel like, of course, Disney destroyed Spectro Magic, like the parade itself. I think they destroyed.
You know
it.
what? I'm triggered
And-
right now. Like, I think
I
I
know,
need you to just
I
back
know,
off
I know.
because, like,
There's-
that's hurtful.
There was a
was
moment that this
hurtful, David
podcast was
Fowler.
also going to be called the Spectro Podcast.
We did
And
think about that.
I feel like nobody, like enough people wouldn't have gotten it, which is why we didn't
Yeah.
go that direction.
Mhm.
But I love that parade.
I love that parade.
And I'm just imagining, I guess at the time, maybe Bob Iger sitting back watching Phil, the handyman with a hammer, about to raise his arm to one of the floats on the electrical parade. And Bob's like, stop. Why don't we hold on to this one just in case we need it later? I don't know. Maybe there's a worldwide pandemic.
let us
and everybody
down,
laughs at
Bob.
him, but he's like, let's just hold on to it. And so he tells Bob Paycheck, hey, we got a parade in the corner in case you need it. So here's what I'm wondering, why don't we have paint the night over here? If you've got the parade floats, just bring
Mhm.
paint the night over here. Give us
Oh,
a
we've
nighttime
been
parade. Let's do it.
you know,
I
like
mean,
for years,
yeah.
like since paint, like bring it
Yeah.
over. We need
Or-
to see it.
Guess what? I'll take the electrical parade again. That's fine.
Whatever.
Bring it back. There's a whole new crop of kids that have been born in
Yes.
the last 10 years that have never seen this parade. Bring it back. I don't
It's not
care.
10 years. It's not been
Just-
10 years since the
it's-
electrical parade went
It's
away.
been a while. I mean,
It's
maybe
not
not 10
been
years,
10.
but there's been a lot of kids that have never seen it. And so
There's a lot.
that's
Yeah,
what I'm
I would
saying.
say, was it
Um,
2016, 2015?
Maybe. I don't know. Heather,
Whatever.
quasi-producer producer Heather, look that up for us.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast has now returned, which, by the way, there's a parade is a rumor. Fact, however, Beauty and the Beast has returned to Hollywood Studios. The show is much like it's been before. I think there's a social distancing aspect. They're kind of separating the seats out a little bit, but otherwise it's there. Standby line at Rise of the Resistance, the first time we've ever had that.
Oh my gosh. I read that. I was like, what?
Like, crowds apparently were low enough to allow that. There were people getting Rise of the Resistance boarding groups at like 4 p.m. And
which is unheard of.
Let me set this up. Rise of the Resistance boarding groups open up at 7 a.m. local time, Orlando, and 1 p.m. You got to get online. And our friend, my work Kramer, our friend Sarah asked for help this morning. She was like, if somebody wants to help me, we're going to try to get on there. She was at Polynesian, I believe, this morning with her kids. And so I hopped on as well just to see if I could do it within, 7:00.02. They're gone.
Which is normal.
Which is normal. 7 a.m. they're gone. And so I'm like, well, maybe I could help her try out at 1 o'clock. I don't know. And so they're gone that fast. So to see that they were available, I'm like, oh, well, either it's not as busy or Rise is beginning to lose its appeal, which I'm wondering if that's the case because enough people have ridden. Like, I'm going in October, and I know you are too. Rise is not a priority for me. Like, I want to ride it, and I will. But it's not something I'm like,
but it's not the end of the world if I don't get a boarding group.
Haunted Mansion, I have to ride Haunted Mansion when I'm down there because you ride Haunted Mansion. Toy Story Mania, I want to ride Toy Story Mania, but I'm going to go for that. But Rise, I'm like, okay, if I get it, awesome. If not, I'll get it next time. And so, I'm wondering if enough people now are like, okay, we've done Rise. I don't want to deal with all the boarding groups. I'm just not going to go. And now there was a standby line. Not saying that's going to happen, but we know it's possible. Cirque du Soleil, Drawn to Life, opening up in November. That came out of nowhere.
We knew it was coming, but we didn't know when. And it's like the Cirque Circle, I think that's what they call it. They got emails like insiders could do first, and annual pass holders also get a little. General public tickets don't go on sale till the 20th.
Well, if you don't know what we're talking about, if you've ever been to Disney Springs or seen pictures, that big white tent-looking building at the end of Disney Springs, that's the Cirque building. That's where the Cirque du Soleil La Nouba was, which I loved. La Nouba. I love the music of La Nouba. I'm sure there's a soundtrack out there somewhere. I need to purchase that just because of that commercial that does the wall walker. I loved that so much. Yeah. I've seen the video now, the preview teaser video for Drawn to Life. I'm excited. It looks really good. Cool. It looks really good. Again, I'm always impressed when people do things that I have no hope of ever doing. So that entire show impresses the crap out of me. I'm just like, they're walking up walls on trampolines. I'm impressed. And now I'm looking at this going, he's dancing on top of a desk. And there's a one part where the girl is running and he's throwing his hands up and she's running on his hands.
Running on his hands.
I'm like,
I saw that.
Holy crap. We should try that. We should all try that in 50th. We could do that. So
yeah, that'll go well.
All right. So Zach Ridley, one of the more famous Imagineers now, getting out there on Instagram. If you've never followed him, you should. Zach, I believe, Riddley. He's an Imagineer, and he's very I don't want to use the word flamboyant. He's very charming, very energetic, very just like out there. And he's very cool, and he shows a lot of things on Instagram about what they're working on. And he showed us yesterday they're working on the Spaceship Earth lights. The LED lights are putting in all the little crevices of Spaceship Earth. Saw some previews of what it's going to look like. You're an Epcot girl. What do you think? I'm
actually excited about this. So I mean, I love my Spaceship Earth. She is beautiful just as she is. However, I did enjoy, now not the big wand and the hand, like at the 2000, they had that like over top, and it stayed up for a long time, like several years, like 10 years maybe. And then they slowly dismantled it. I love the idea of sparkly lights on it because I think whenever she's all lit up, she looks so pretty. So I'm excited about the lights in Spaceship Earth. I'm down with this.
Yeah, me too. I think it looks cool. And during the daytime, you're not going to see much because it's daytime.
Exactly. It's still going to look beautiful during the day.
And they'll be able to do the same thing with it at night as they do now. I think that this just gives them the ability to do lights, do more, do designs, do shows, projections. Yeah. And it's going to interface with the front gate. It's going to interface with the fountains in the front and everything. And so it's almost like a Spaceship Earth light show.
Which is very like innovative, which is what, Epcot was supposed to be for.
I like it because it's not intrusive. For
example, it's not like you're like destroying sight lines.
The 25th, you had the castle cake where they put the cake all over the castle, and that was permanent. You couldn't take that off. So everything you wanted to see on the castle, all you saw was cake for a year. Whereas now they have projections on it. They can do different projections on the show and make it look like they want to, but when they pull that off, it still looks like the castle. Same thing with Spaceship Earth. It's still going to look like Spaceship Earth unless they want to do some designs with it. So that's cool.
And I love that idea. I think that's great because they used to do like projections, like whatever. One time they made it
Monsters
Death
Inc.
Star, and then they did like they make it Mike Wazowski.
It's really cool.
And that's great because you're not I don't want to say destroying, but you're not like limiting your site. Yeah. So I like it.
The Genie debuts sometime by the end of this year. Bob Paycheck has already told us that we will get the Genie. What is the Genie? You say, well, it's a new app that will help guests plan their day, and their data they use will give guests real-time suggestions to dramatically, and I'm doing quotes for you not watching on YouTube, improve guest experience. Though unconfirmed, it has been rumored that this new platform will also be where the upcoming paid FastPass service will debut as well. Rumor on the paid. We expect it to be paid FastPass service in some form.
Yes.
But it is a rumor because there is no confirmation. And we still don't even know that FastPass is coming back. Disney has not said a word about it. So we guess it is, but we don't know. But the Genie is coming. It was supposed to debut, I think, at the end of last year. And of course, COVID. And I like this idea in theory. I love a lot of ideas that Disney has in theory. Sometimes I feel as if their execution of the ideas aren't very good. I think they put more stock into the capabilities they have of their data and their IT and what they have tech wise than they actually have. I'm saying it carefully because, in case Marcy runs this up the chain and one of the Bobs hears this, I don't want him to think I'm criticizing, but I'm kind of criticizing. It just, I've often said we're a $265 billion company, shave off $500 million. And instead of putting 3 trees in Epcot, work on the website, just make it work. And that will give me faith with the Genie. It really will.
I'm sure that just stay tuned because we, as your travel planners, will be testing it out. We are going to try to help you maximize how to use it. And I think the difficult thing is that so many of the technology things can become cumbersome because it's learning something new. And it's, let's be real, there's typically bugs to be worked out. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see and, see how this works. And is it going to be a thing where, well, this line is shorter, so we're going to recommend you go here instead, but when you really want to do this. So I'm sure that there will be new strategies and everything that we'll have to design to help you maximize that.
Very
and
cool.
We'll work on it.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. And honestly, Disney is very good about assisting with that stuff as well. I've been working on a ticket issue for a couple of months now, only because every time I call, I'm on hold for a while. And twice I had to hang up because my kid was going crazy. And once I got cut off and whatever. But once I finally get them on, I got it solved. Yeah. I had a ticket issue where there was tickets that were used that weren't supposed to be. Another ticket expired and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
All worked out. We're all good. So I can move on with my life. And so they're very good about it. It's just I'm hoping that there won't be a whole lot of, won't be a whole lot of necessary things going on because we can get that fixed. Final 2 things here. Of course, we know that Space 2020 is going to be open sometime in September. We're excited. We don't know when. We don't know when the reservations are coming.
No
we don't
idea.
know. We're thinking now it's just going to randomly drop, and all of a sudden we'll look up and be like, "Oh, it's available."
I mean, I feel like that's what's going to happen.
And when it does, here's the thing: when it drops like 5 a.m, reservations will be available for like 30 minutes, and then people will catch on, and then it's over. Like it's gone. So we've got a couple people checking like 5 a.m. every day, just in case. NBA Experience is closing after 7 months of operation. That big building over there by the Cirque du Soleil building.
Yep.
You went to the NBA Experience, I believe.
I did.
And so you said you had a good time, even though you're not a basketball girl.
I'm not about like a big basketball fan, but it was very well done. If you were a basketball fan, that would have been like your jam, totally.
Right.
But yeah, it was nice.
I feel like it wasn't a good idea on the maybe I don't think it was a good idea on the drawing phase. How this is going to work. I feel like they thought it would be more popular than it was for some reason. I'll say this one sentence, and anybody can read into what they want to. I feel as if in this political climate that they were putting more stock into the popularity of the NBA than was out there. And so yeah. So now. Now we have an empty 6-story building. I think it's like 5 or 6 stories.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea what you'd put in there? And I've thought about this, and I threw this question on you yesterday. And of course, in your busy day, you're probably like, "Yo, you want to spend some time on this?" So your thoughts, or I can tell you what I think, and then you can play out.
Yeah. No. Listen, I'll go back to Disney Quest, but an updated version of Disney Quest because I think, like, although at the end of its run, it was not popular. Back in its heyday, it was very popular, and I think But the technology had far surpassed. That's the thing. Like, but if it was more up to date and then kept up to date, like a Disney Quest type of thing, or even with like a Sum of All Thrills, like like all that stuff, kind of do an amalgamation of some of the favorites.
My idea solves that problem, by the way. Here's the deal. The problem that Tomorrowland is in Disney World is that it's a vision of the future that's not happening at all.
Right.
how Disneyland solved that problem is they made it a retro future. Like this is what the future was supposed to look like. Do that at the Disney Quest, whatever they call it. 3 or 4 floors, do nothing but vintage video games.
I love this.
Pinball arcade, video games. Do a virtual like Pong where you put on some sort of vest and you run around with another friend, like and the thing goes back and forth.
That would be so much fun.
Bring the Void, and I don't even know if the Void's still in business, but bring the Void back. Have 3 Void chambers where you do the Wreck-It Ralph and the Star Wars and the Avengers. Do some sort of retro whatever, and maybe have one floor of the most technologically advanced games you can find, the 3D, 4D, 7D, or whatever, the virtual reality. Like this is the future. This floor is the future of gaming.
I love this.
Way,
can we do the game from Carousel of Progress though?
I think we should. I think that would be awesome. Bring back some of our fears. And now that you said that, I'm even thinking, what if they even took a chunk of it and brought back something like a Body Wars or something sort of similar, because you go to the mall and you see the motion simulators for like $5. You get to ride a roller coaster, looks like crap. Take that video of Body Wars and put it in there and maybe change it out. Like there's Body Wars and there's Food Rocks or whatever, and do like a vintage simulator where 50 people at a time could get in there and ride this thing. And I'd pay $10 for that. Easy.
Absolutely.
Have that one floor of the future of gaming, and that's all you have to really upkeep. That's what you have to keep changing.
Everything else is just maintenance.
Everything else is maintenance. Exactly.
Yeah.
I would spend the entire day there. I would play.
I know a lot of people who would.
I would pinball, and dads would love it. Moms would love it because this is stuff from their kids. Have a virtual duck hunt thing where you have 10 kids all line up with a gun.
The little Pac-Man things that used to be in Pizza Hut.
Exactly.
Like
you could do all that. Have the Dance Dance Revolution. Have these games and map it out to where it tells a story. Maybe early gaming to late gaming to the future or whatever.
Right.
You could even do that from the beginning on up. I would totally pay for that. So that's what I think they should do. I think it would be a great idea. I've thought a lot about this actually. Put a lot of.
I think it's a great idea.
I think this is what we should do here. So
our ideas aren't too far off.
No, our ideas are good. We have, and you led into my idea. Put the two of us together. See, Bob, paycheck. Come on, call us up. We got Marcy. Let us run this thing.
We got this.
Disney Quest 2.0 presented by Upon a Star Travel. Easy peasy. Just put our name on it. We won't even ask for a percentage of the cut for the first year.
Wait a minute. Let's revisit that there, David. Come on. Well, we're not asking for a percentage. Really?
Well, not for the first year. For the
first year. Okay.
But no, we won't put anything. We won't pay anything to have it on there. But not for the first year.
Oh,
After a while,
I got you.
Once it's rousing success, then we can start bringing the money in.
But, okay.
So we have a guest coming on today. His name is John Rogers, and he is the host of Travel Tips Tuesday. He's also a travel agent with Travel Nation, and just a super nice guy. I know he loves Epcot. As a matter of fact, and we did not plan this, but his podcast actually started a series which at this point was last night when you and I were recording his intro. His podcast is starting a series in Hollywood Studios, so it kind of all plays together as well. And it's a fun little podcast, and John's a good guy. So let's get to John Rogers and talk about overlooked Hollywood studios. Hey, and welcome to the studio, John Rogers, the host of the Travel Tips Tuesday podcast. My old friend, Jen's new friend, John. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, David. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Doing fantastic now that my microphone works, which is great.
Yay.
It's always a plus.
Happy to have you on. First of all, let's tell the audience a little bit about Travel Tips Tuesday. I know you've been doing this podcast for 2 years now on Tuesday night. Jen, it's on Tuesday in case you didn't know.
Oh, wait. Travel Tips Tuesday's on Tuesday?
It is. It is. It's in the name. So
It's part of the whole brand thing, I guess, just to be consistent. So, I mean, Friday Tips Tuesday doesn't really make any sense. So kidding.
I guess not.
It's I just kind of do that. I mean, we do it live. We have some people that listen to it live on Facebook. We started doing it live recently on YouTube. There's not really a whole lot there, so you could search for it on YouTube if you wanted to, but that's not where most of the content is. Most of the content is going to be on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that kind of stuff. So if you're curious, you can Google it too if you like.
It's a fun little show, and I know, John. I know that you like usually Tuesday afternoon you reach out with a question. What's your favorite food to eat? What's the first time tip for first timers? What is it? Whatever. Yep. And you kind of incorporate that to the show, which is kind of fun. And it's a fun little show. It's about 30 minutes, and it's a great little just like. I want my Disney fix. It's Tuesday night. I want my Disney. Oh, there we go. Once you've listened to all, exhausted all the mainstream electrical podcasts, where are you going to go? How about some Travel Tips?
Exactly. That's exactly it.
And your little one had a birthday today, so you've been partying hard all day, I guess.
Yeah. So all weekend, it's just kind of been a thing. So she's our oldest. I look at it as the anniversary of becoming a parent. So one of the things we can do here locally, one of our movie theaters, is for a super cheap and reasonable price. You can rent out a movie theater and bring your own movie. So
nice.
We watched the first Harry Potter film. big
Cool.
Harry Potter themed, birthday thing, and my wife made some shirts and stuff, so that was fun. And then
That's so cool.
my daughter made her own cake because she likes to do that. So it was good, and she had a good day today too. So
That's
Well, cool.
great.
Very
good
good.
time
What?
celebrating.
So you just bring the DVD or like
Yeah, just a Blu-ray straight up. Like you pay
Wow.
like $100 and something, like fee,
Right.
which is basically the licensing fee to show it, and then they give you the space, and you pay them back with all the popcorn and
With like
25
10,000% markup.
yeah, $25 nachos and all that kind of stuff. Like you thought Disney prices were bad. I mean, no, go to your local movie theater.
Yeah,
So-
that's way worse.
you're also, I mean, you go to the movies, you're paying, $6 for popcorn, and
Yeah.
I paid $5.50 for a 20-ounce bottle of water like a couple of days
Oh,
ago
yeah.
when I
Something like
went.
that.
Disney's got nothing on movie
No,
theaters
because
for
if
pricing.
if you ate
Yeah.
all day at the movie theater, like with nachos and with cheese
Yeah.
sticks and whatever, it would cost you a pretty penny for that. Jen, by the
Sure
way,
would.
my birthday, we were together on my birthday last week. Why didn't you do this for my birthday? Why didn't I have a Mexican movie theater
I
showing like La Bamba or something?
we got you a special dessert at breakfast. I
That's
don't know
true.
what else you really
Well,
want. Hey.
Let's just be fair. Alexa did that. You were
That's
like,
true.
You were
She,
like, oh,
she told me when I got down to breakfast, she's like,
happy birthday.
we ordered something. I was like, oh, that's a good idea.
And you're like, who? Oh yeah, okay, cool.
Who's
whatever.
David
That
Dollar?
guy,
Can I have some
Who?
coffee?
Wait,
the Hawaiian shirt guy.
Well,
I
Remember
need some
him?
coffee, please.
Yeah.
Well, granted, yeah, you had not had coffee, so I can't.
I
hold
had not
anything
had any.
against-
You cannot. You know me and
Yeah,
coffee.
I know. I was gonna say you were everything's excused until you have coffee. I know, Jen. How that works.
This is correct.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Hollywood studios. And when we decided to do this, we kind of done this over the course of several episodes over the last, I don't know, year or so, kind of overlooked in the parks and things. You go to the parks, certain parks, and there are things in those parks that you don't think about. Maybe you don't look or don't know about because you want to go to the big stuff. And Hollywood studios is a great example of that because everybody wants to do Slinky Dog and the Millennium Falcon and Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror. But there's so many little things in that park that if you're really paying attention, things to eat, things to ride, things to see,
Yeah.
things to do. I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk a little bit about Hollywood studios. And I know, John, you're a big Hollywood studios fan. I see you got your Tower of Terror background there. And I've got
Love
Black
Tower.
Dot here. And Jen's got the sci-fi going on there as our background. Again, go on YouTube. You'll see all of this. So let's just kind of kick it off, John. Let's look at your list. What have you got on top of your list there? As maybe an overlooked thing in
Oh
Hollywood.
man, I've actually got like 7 things because I figured some of these things were probably going to overlap with
Probably.
with
Same.
where y'all are at. But I want to put kind of one of the big ones, pun intended, up there first, and that's Gertie.
Oh, yeah.
Can't overlook Gertie. So about 10 years ago, I kind of went down a Google rabbit hole just to make sure I was on par. But about 10 years ago, Disney Parks blog did an article on this. And for those of you out there in podcast land and YouTube land that don't know, Gertie is the first animated cartoon to feature a dinosaur. This was way back in 1913. Supposedly, it was one of the major inspirations for Walt Disney getting into, hand-drawn animation. And then Walt actually sort of did his own version of it later on. And anyway, so there's this giant Gertie the dinosaur right there at Disney's Hollywood Studios that has a little shop in it where you can come and grab a bite when it's open because it's not always open.
It's not
but
always open, yeah.
yeah. So it's there for a reason. And around Christmas time, they put a nice little Santa hat.
Yeah,
on top
it's
of
really
it.
cute.
So-
It's really
I actually have that as a background I could do. Wait, hang on. I can
Yeah.
put if you're on YouTube. Wait. Oh, come
yes,
here.
because we're on YouTube.
There
now.
you
Yes,
go.
There's Gertie.
Yeah. All right. Sweet.
What's funny though is when you sit up and you cover Gertie, you have like a little.
I
green
know
thing
that's
in
why
your
I
head.
have to. I know that's why I've got. Looks like I've got a big earring. Like, let's just do
Jen, what
that.
have you got on your list?
All right. So one of the first things I thought of whenever you told me this topic, yes. So the shop windows, and specifically over by where Streets of America used to be. And of course, Streets of America all had great theming. When Once Upon a Time was a thing, they even had like a Once Upon a Time window, but they did maintain some of those shop windows. Specifically, there is like a music shop, and it's right as you head toward Galaxy's Edge. Just there's like the baseline tap house, and then there's just a few storefronts left. And I just love the theming and the details. If you go look in those windows, there's just a lot. You can even find hidden Mickeys, and just like a lot of little nods to Disney history, Disney trivia, nods to past attractions. So I just find that entire area a lot of fun. I love looking at those windows. and
awesome.
remembering the old streets of America.
I do miss
Yeah.
those. I do miss those, and
Yeah.
I understand why they took them out.
Yes,
But
of
you know,
course.
but then again, I look at the map, and I'm like, there's a lot of green space between Galaxy's Edge and like where Commissary Lane is. There's a big green patch. I'm like,
There's a big green patch.
why didn't you just make Star Wars kind of edge this way and leave Streets of America? We could have the lights and just.
Yes.
Nobody
I
called me.
know.
Iger didn't call us. That's
Well, I mean, that was their mistake. Again.
Well, here's my theory.
Shame on the Bobs.
My theory is Travel Tips Tuesday and Main Street did not get started in time. If we had these podcasts been going 5 or 6 years ago,
That's exactly it.
yeah, that's
you know,
right.
So really, I think it's our fault. We
Yeah.
take the
But yeah, we're sorry.
sorry.
We're
Dropped the
sorry.
ball.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
My first thing here is it's an attraction that I think a lot of people don't even know exists because it's over in the corner behind Rock and Roller Coaster, and
Mhm.
you know, it's called Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. And it's really kind of a simple little show. In its
Mhm.
premise, it's basically McQueen is Chick Hicks comes back and he wants to take the title from McQueen because it's like, you beat me on a technicality. No, I beat you on a technicality because you gave up and whatever with the
Mhm.
Mr. the King and whatever. And so you walk into the theater and you got this wraparound screen with Lightning McQueen in the middle. And I don't think enough credit is given to Lightning McQueen and how cool the animatronic looks. If you look closely, you can kind of see the shade of the mouth versus the shade of the car, and it kind of looks—it's almost like an Elsa thing in Frozen, where we talked about where the face
Yeah,
is
we
one
talked
color
about
and the next
that,
the
yeah.
other. You know, it's like Michael Jackson 1978 versus Michael Jackson 1999. You know, it's just two different colors.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's like the show is really cool. I mean, it really is a fun little show. It's about 15 minutes or so, and it's full of energy. And there's Mater and there's McQueen, all the characters that you know, and just I like the show. I really do. It's a really fun thing. And again, I think people don't pay attention to it because once they hit Rock and Roller Coaster, they come out of the roller coaster by the guitar. They just start working up that hill towards Tower without paying any attention about what's over on the left because we're so used to anything not being back there.
Sure.
So I would say that anybody who hasn't seen it or doesn't even know it's there, make sure you visit the Lightning McQueen Racing Academy and you can learn what it takes to be a champion. All right, John, what you got?
Ooh, let's see here. If you ever go for the newbies to Walt Disney World, if you ever go to dine at Disney's Hollywood Studios and you go to the 50s Primetime Cafe and you go to the bathroom, you want to make sure that you know what color the soap is. Just remember that. Don't overlook that. Since we're talking overlook, don't overlook the color of the soap if you want to eat your dessert. That's all I'm saying. If you know, you know. Just to put that out there.
Oh, I know.
Actually, I don't think that I know.
You don't know?
You don't
Tell you
know.
what, let me click on this. You have stopped recording. Okay, so now we're offline, John. So you can just tell me all about it. Actually, I don't know about the color of the soap. I really don't.
It's
Have you
one of
eaten
it's
at prime time?
It's been a long. Yeah, I've been there a couple times. It's been a long
it's
time
one
now.
of the it's one of the things the servers harass you or whatever if you get if you don't like clear your plate and all that. But like at the beginning of the meal, usually they'll ask you if you wash your hands, and they're like, yes, we have. Well, what color was the soap? And nobody ever remembers what color the soap was. And if you don't remember what color soap is, they'll make you get up and march you back to the bathroom and make sure you go in there and wash your hands before you come sit down. And this is this is not just a pandemic protocol. Everything this is a normal.
I was like, that's been around for years.
Yeah, that is so funny.
It was
Part of the experience. So.
Yes.
So, well, that's really. I don't think I knew that. That's awesome. If you know, you know. Oh, sorry. Let me click again. The recording has started. There we go. Jen, what's on your list?
You know what? Let me keep with the food theme here. So I think that Hollywood Brown Derby, and yes, people eat at the Hollywood Brown Derby, but back when it was on the dining plan, it was 2 credits. And so I don't feel like maybe your average guest has gone there. They tend more for the character dining or the sci-fi or something like that. But the Hollywood Brown Derby is very historical in that it's based on the actual Hollywood Brown Derby, complete with the caricatures. They actually have a print of the original Hollywood Brown Derby. They used to, I don't know, post-pandemic, obviously, they would do a tour. They would walk you through and give you the history of it. They tell you about the history of the Cobb salad and it was invented there basically, and the grapefruit cake. And it is just really cool, especially if you love that era of history and just knowing all the connection, which was always great too, because it was near the Great Movie Ride, and you'd be like, oh look, all the the silver screen, and then I'm at the Brown Derby. So yeah, I think that that's just a really, really neat place, even if you just walk in to look in completely even in the bathrooms, it's all as usual themed perfectly, just like Disney. So I think that's something that people don't always pay attention to.
Now, I do remember those bathrooms. I remember seeing those bathrooms. So yes, Don't remember the color of the soap. I'm sure it was
Oh, I don't remember the color of the soap there.
probably not, hopefully not brown. But no, it is a cool, it's a cool thing because there's so much to look at when you're in there. Like you're sitting at the table, all these pictures are everywhere around you. And now I do find it a challenge, I guess, for somebody under say 30 to understand who most of those people are in pictures.
True.
You know, I'm not sure that your average 27-year-old, like our friend Susie, may not know who Jimmy Durante is, but you know, I do. And so,
but I'm over 27. So.
I know, or Henny Youngman. I'm like, oh look, that's Henny Youngman. Of course, my kid's like, what? But there's so much to look at in there with all the pictures and stuff. And there are some hidden Mickeys because there's some of the some of the pictures that have Mickeys drawn on them, which is kind of cool. So, very cool. I think that the Muppets Vision 3D is a attraction that definitely needs an update because, you know, whenever the wall breaks at the very end, you basically are looking out to 1998 Hollywood Studios.
That's not even 98. That's like
MGM Studios.
That's like 91, dude.
But I think even better than the actual video itself is the queue and the lobby waiting area, the pre-show. For the pre-show, it's fantastic.
I think I know where you're going with this.
I think I do too.
Well, just overall, you've got the big screen up there, you know, or the 3 screens up there where they're going back and forth, and you know, there's a Rizzo comes in, or just Gonzo comes in and says he's got Mickey Mouse coming in, and Sam the Eagle's like, Mickey Mouse, oh my God, you know, here comes Rizzo. What do they know? They're tourists. But overall, if you look around that area, if you've seen the video, whatever, you can actually take some time to look around. There are jokes everywhere. They're on the boxes. They're on the rafters. They're on the poles. They're you know, the key under the mat. There literally is a key under the mat.
Literally a key under the mat.
The doors all the way down have jokes on it. There are just so many jokes in there. Just the references to Muppets and references to Muppet history and to Sesame Street, just all through there. So I definitely had to take the time to, you know, Muppet Vision. And a lot of times it's harder because sometimes on not busy days, you just walk right on through there and go straight to it. And I know they haven't done the pre-show for a while. I don't know. Do either one of you know? Are they back? Okay, good.
Oh, yeah. Whatever I just went, it's back.
Good. So you do have a few minutes, whatever, to look around and just take in the jokage, the amount of detail that's in that queue. I think is fantastic. Really, I love the Muppets. Great. Again, Muppet Vision 3D is something I can almost take or leave at this point. It's just such an old, outdated movie. Just show the Muppet movie. Just show the whole thing. I'd be happy with that. I'd sit in there for an hour and a half to watch that. But yeah, I
that
think
line would get really long.
Probably. We've seen this waiting room stuff for like an hour and a half. But no, I think that the queue is just fantastic. So definitely pay attention to the queue. John,
let's go. Well, here's something that is not reopened, but this is a fun thing. So talking about queues at the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Show Spectacular, one of my favorite attractions that I'm still like, I'm just waiting for that thing to reopen. It's just so fun. You know, that show basically never changed. But anyway, in the queue, there's a rope in a well, and there's a sign that says, I think, don't pull a rope or something like that. And if you pull the rope, there's a guy that sounds like he's yelling from the bottom of the well. It's pretty funny. So it's kind of like fun.
Am I right in saying the sign says do not pull, but the knot is crossed out?
Yeah,
the NOT is crossed out.
Yeah.
So it actually will read do pull the rope, and people don't pull it because they're like, don't pull the rope.
Yeah. I just think I love little details and stuff like that. Yeah. Like the key under the mat at Muppets and stuff.
Yes.
Now, have y'all ever been in the show itself, in the Indiana Jones show? Have they ever called you down?
Yes.
I have not.
Oh, I've done it twice,
including
once on my honeymoon. The honeymoon was great. They asked for like, do we have any honeymooners? My wife and I were like, us. And so yeah, it's a lot. It's a really fun little experience to get down there and dress up, and you know, because when we saw it, this was 2004. You know, obviously, as your spoiler alert, during the show, you'll find out when they bring the people down there, there's somebody in there that actually is part of the show. Of course, we didn't know that when we were down there, and we're like,
right?
Oh, that's why this guy's so acrobatic.
Yeah, it's super fun though. It's super fun.
Yeah, we'll be praying for you to get called, John.
Yeah,
thank you so much. That means the world.
Jen, what's on your list?
Well, this is actually what I've mentioned before, but but I feel like it fits here.
Yeah.
And that is the entire little section near Primetime and Hollywood Brown Derby with the Roger Rabbit nods. Like there's the Eddie Valiant window. There's like it's a silhouette, I think, of Roger Rabbit like having busted through something. Yep. And you know, because that was supposed to be quite a large part of Hollywood Studios initially, they have those nods there. And you know, it's so easy. That's a section. If you're not going to one of those restaurants, you might just walk by it. You have to actually look, and it's on the second floor. So you have to pay attention. And I just think that it's really neat. And I love that they sort of kept that. Disney's really good about that, keeping the nods to either the things that were supposed to be that never were, or the things that maybe once were that have gone away. So I always have fun looking at that.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I mean, it's because of course Hollywood Studios is built as a quote unquote movie studio, and at one time it actually was a working animated studio.
Right.
There are so many little references to movies and things like that, which, and as you're saying, or even like I remember the Great Movie Ride, especially the gangster scene. If you look below some of the windows, some of the posters and things like that, you'd see Mickey. There's Mickey feet in one of the posters.
Feet, yeah.
And stuff. And just there's so many little details and all that. Of course, now it's Mickey's Runaway Railway, and we don't stop long enough to see the details, and that which is hard.
If you are careful and you look around, you can see a lot of nods to the Great Movie Ride.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
I want to ride that ride like 50 times just to be able to spot
you need
things.
to.
And so
you just have to like look around, like don't look at what.
What you're supposed to be looking
what
at.
You're supposed to be looking at.
I'm looking for hidden Mickeys all the time.
Yeah.
I'm finding one.
There's a lot in that one.
A lot in that one.
Yeah.
So on my list here is over in Galaxy's Edge. I think they did a really great job with the photography opportunities there. There are so many cool magic shots that are there. And I know they're doing this at other parts now, but this is the first time I ever had one of those where they take the picture and when you look at it, it's like your face, and then all of a sudden the whole thing pulls back to you see the whole area. So you get that. I've seen the picture, or I've been a part of the picture where everybody stands in a circle and it's like this sphere looking photo, where everybody's kind of standing out with their arms out. There's all kinds, you put all kinds of characters in there with Darth Vader and the Mandalorian and whatever. So all that's in there. And like, there's so many different cool photography opportunities that people don't stop, I think, for the PhotoPass stuff. And I think that people should really pay attention to the PhotoPass there in Galaxy's Edge, especially because there's a lot of cool things there. Now, I've not used the Play Disney app. I have heard, and I actually don't think a lot of people have used it, to be honest with you. You have? I was going to say, I think you said how cool it is.
It is so cool.
I need to use it. Play Disney.
Listen, you sit there and you can like turn things on and off. Like it actually interacts with your app. I mean, Brady is not a huge like, I want to be gaming on my phone. He had fun like doing that. It's really
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah,
my wife loved it.
That.
Yeah, she's a big fan.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, John, what else you got on your list?
Ooh, how about some fun facts about the Tower of Terror? Now I know y'all had, I think you had McNair on like a while back, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So because he's like mutual friends and everything. Well, I got to go visit Tower of Terror with McNair.
Oh my gosh, so cool.
At a conference that David came to a while back, and we were like walking, and we got to go like into the lobby, like on the other side of the railing, the stanchions, go behind the check-in desk at the Tower of Terror, get our picture taken back and all these things. And so that's where I was a cast member, and I was like learning things that either I was taught and didn't remember or just never knew. And one of the things, and again, going back to details. So you go in there and the whole place is like dusty and old, and whatever, kind of creepy and creaky and everything. Well, when the attraction originally opened, there was like some like fake dust and stuff that was in there, but there were some comments that were made by some of the Imagineers and some of the feedback that it looked too new, like it looked too nice and too fresh. So most of the dust and what you see there now is actually like real dust that is just accumulated over the years.
Oh my gosh.
It's not, so it's not like, fake or whatever that's been, done. And I realize that. So of course there's hidden Mickeys hidden throughout the attraction and all sorts of fun things. And I've got some fun stories from my days as a cast member there, but aside from the height of the attraction being slightly less than Expedition Everest. Now on I think it's called the Behind the Magic series on Disney Plus, where they're look at the different attractions to the Tower of Terror. They actually say, one of the Imagineers says that it was like 199 feet and 11 inches. McNair says it was 199 feet like even, and then Expedition Everest like had another 6 inches added on top of it. So somebody's wrong in there somewhere, but anyway, but yeah, it's fun. I love
the Tower of Terror.
Yeah,
I love
Tower it. It's cool and it's vintage and everything.
Yeah.
So now I had a question for both of y'all and I can't remember what it was. Okay, yeah. Since John, you can answer this for me. Maybe you can answer this for me since you were a cast member there at Tower. There's a hidden Mickey that I think I've seen, but it could be my eyes playing tricks on me, just forcing myself to see what I think I've seen. In the elevator, as you're getting onto the elevator, no, I'm sorry, you're in the elevator, you're going through the Tower of Terror. Right before you get to the part we start going up and down, as the doors come together, that beam of light comes together. On the left freight elevator, there's a hidden Mickey that appears for approximately 0.000 like 4 seconds.
No, it's
is it a hidden? It is a hidden.
Yeah,
Mickey?
100%.
Okay.
It's on one. It's yeah.
Yeah, you got to catch that just the right time too. And I don't think it's every time either. I think it's just you have to catch it.
I don't think it's in every shaft.
No, it's
every
not.
like elevator
It's not.
shaft.
Not. I want to say it's on the left side, just walking up
it's on
the far side. But yeah, okay. So I'm glad you verified.
You're right. You're not crazy. Maybe you are, but not for that.
Because on the right, they have like those little figures of the nanny and the little girl on one of the stops, but it's not on all of them.
Right.
It just kind of depends.
Is that not on all of them? Really?
It's not on all of them.
Oh, wow. Okay. And isn't there one as you're walking up? You can kind of see it on the wall as you're walking up. And once you get to it, you can't really see it, but it's like
on the left side in the boiler room.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to kind of get it the right angle to see it, but it is there. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Which is too dark for my little piddly camera to take pictures. But I'm like, I know it's there. So, validation from John Rogers. This is good. That's a new podcast idea for you. Disney validation.
Disney validation.
Jen, what else you got there?
All right. So I don't know. Maybe this is not overlooked, but to me, I think it is. The popsicle stick wall, and like when you're coming out of Toy Story Mania, because you're coming through the exit, and if you're exiting, you're trying to go to another ride or whatever, you're like just kind of buzzing through. But if you really pay attention to the details, I mean, there's like I think a giant checkerboard and a few other things, and yes, the whole queue is amazing. But I love the popsicle stick wall. It looks exactly like, I mean, when you were a kid, who didn't save your popsicle sticks and build something? I mean, I think like you get like, oh, that's the grape, and that's banana, or whatever. And I just think it's so cute. Like every single time
there's a lot in Toy Story Mania, especially with because you're shrunk down to the size of a toy, obviously. And so just you walk in the queue and you've got all the Tinker Toys and the Legos and the cards and things like that. But then like if you look around, there's a Baby Bell. That's your chair you're sitting in. Baby Bell cheese. And it's cool. It's a really
right.
cool,
like, but if you're not looking and paying attention, if you're just super hyper focused on, dude, I just want Toy Story Mania. I totally beat David Dollar,
which is possible, maybe,
which is very possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
And now I'm ready to go get on whatever Slinky Dog or get over to Galaxy's Edge. You just might not stop because in the crush of people, just let them go and get ahead
and
of
stop
you.
and observe and stop and look.
Look at it.
One thing too that I love to stop and observe is, and I'm not a shopper like Jen. Jen's the bougie one. She's the one that goes shopping for the Doonies and the shoes and the whatever.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, the shopping there on Sunset Boulevard is some of my favorite shops in all the parks. Now, the reason the Contemporary has my favorite shops is because on one side I like to have like the whimsical, the toys and the fun stuff, and the plush and the pins, whatever. Across the hall they have what I think it's called BVG, where it's like more stylish men and women's clothing, and they've got the dishes and the cool stuff and stuff more expensive, and Hollywood has that. You go down Sunset Boulevard, I think a lot more than any other park's going to have it. You go down, and I believe it's called Once Upon a Time at Legends of Hollywood. That's two of the stores, and the others are I forget the name of the others, but basically it's one shop. You go in, you can walk all the way through it, and they've got a lot of great clothing and a lot of high end. I say high end. It's not too expensive. It can be, some of it can be, but a lot of stuff I feel
higher end for Disney.
I can find there that I can't find anywhere else. I mean, I'll get a polo, like a Star Wars polo, that I might not see anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool little shop. It's a great little place to walk through. I'll spend a lot of time in that shop, more so than any other shop as well. I just think it's a great place to shop and to get out of the heat or the rain or whatever, and just kind of walk around a little bit. And something in there for everybody. So don't overlook Once Upon a Time and Legends of Hollywood.
Very good.
John, what else you got on your list there?
Let's see. I'm gonna go. Let's see here to Walt Disney Presents in One Man's Dream. I think this is like I would almost say the quintessential experience for anybody that's a Walt Disney fan.
Yep.
Wants to know more about the man, how it came to be, and everything. And honestly, great air conditioning, if I'm being frank. So great opportunity to kind of get out and kind of move. There's a little movie at the end. If you've seen it before, take a nap. But there's some good information that's in there if you hadn't seen it. It's not too long. So it just, I love going in there and kind of going back to, that day in Walt Disney's kind of story and all that. So it's some good stuff.
Yeah, I had that on my list too, and we can talk about it real quick because I know Jen loves it too.
I do.
I think until recently, I think it was something that was really overlooked. People would walk right by it, never go in it. I think there has been a rush of nostalgia for Disney, especially with the 50th coming up, and I think more people are appreciating this.
I'm glad.
And maybe because Disney was closed for so long, and we actually saw what happens when Disney World's not there anymore. We got a glimpse of that horrible future, and yeah, I think that One Man's Dream is such an incredible just walkthrough, just to study, and I could spend an hour in there just reading everything, looking at the.
Oh my gosh, there's so much.
Just everything, the displays and the maquettes, and even I love at the end of you had the future there. We walk up, and previously you had Toy Story Land and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. The models built there. You're like, this is what it's gonna look like.
Yep.
I don't know what's in those places now, but and they do have the Walt Disney movie. Sometimes they show previews for upcoming films, which I'm like, give me Walt Disney. We can see previews anywhere. But yeah, I do love it. I do love it very much. Jen.
I agreed. Well, this is one that I actually just recently discovered. So Baseline Tap House, I know has actually gotten a lot of market. So I'm not saying Baseline Tap House is overlooked. However, at my most recent trip, we went inside because I was starving and needed pretzel. And we all know we can get some lovely pretzels, little charcuterie board or whatever. So we miraculously found a table because it was hotter than blazes. And I needed some air conditioning. So it's like, okay, let's get a little food, you get something cold, and we'll be fine. But as I sat there, because that used to be the writer's stop.
Yeah, and I missed the writer's stop.
I loved
yeah.
Right.
Great
loved
spot.
the writer's stop.
Yep. The books that were in there were fantastic.
Exactly.
I love the books.
There are still nods to the writer's stop
cool.
inside Baseline Tap House, because I sat there at the far end. There's like it's like a bar built into the wall with like bar stools, basically.
Right.
Okay. So it's like a little counter, whatever. And I sat there and like, I looked up and I was like, I think that was still there. And there are just nods all over the place. I'd have to like go back to my pictures, but just everything on the wall. I'm like, I can see where I was like, if I closed my eyes, I was like, I remember where everything was now. And I could like I could rework it in my head. So I think that is probably overlooked. If you weren't a fan of the writer's stop, you probably have to go back and like look at old pictures or YouTubes or whatever. But if like me, you were a fan and were in the writer's stop before, go in and just, even if you're not ordering, just like go walk around and look. But the pretzels and the charcuterie are really good. So also eat because it's good.
I missed the writer's stop. I have not been at Baseline yet. But the writer's shop was one of my favorites because of the pastries and they had a lot of books for sale in there. And books again. I could probably find them in certain places, but I didn't see them very often. So I'd buy a book here and there, and just you can go in there and you can just kind of sit. It was almost like a small coffee house in the middle of this crazy theme park.
Yeah,
there's a normal coffee house. You just sit there and enjoy. Finally on my list, and this is something that this is really for myself with a special needs child, but with moms with babies, or if you've got kids that just need somewhere, don't overlook that baby care center. And we've talked about this before at other parks, but it's at the front of the park. It's a nice place. It's quiet. It's cool. They have nursing rooms. They have dark rooms. They have rooms that you can just go and kind of, I wouldn't say go there and sit for 3 hours. I guess if you needed to, then do so. But, with ours, we've taken ours there before and he's, Camel's pretty good about not being too sensory and overloaded, but sometimes it happens to all of us. And we've taken him there before and kind of given him his iPad. We just kind of sit there for 30 minutes, let him sit where he sits and play on the iPad for a minute, kind of cool down and just kind of, calm down and get chilled out and everything, and then we hit the parks again and go crazy. So definitely don't overlook that. If you're somebody who needs somewhere to go, that's a great place to go.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're just an adult and you're hot, you want somewhere to sit, that's not the place to go. But if you are overheated and you do have small children, especially, it's a great place to kind of just chill for a minute and regroup everything. We also had this happen to us too, and this is I think I've shared the story before. It's part of a magical moment. We were in One Man's Dream, and our kid was just going a little bonkers. He was just too much. And one of the cast members let us go into a side room there, which we discovered was where Mike and Sully were doing meet and greets before COVID. And we got to stay in there for like 20 minutes, and we just kind of sat there, had the whole place to ourselves, and Campbell was kind of running around a little bit, doing some, playing with different things on the wall, which you couldn't move or whatever, but it was a good little place just to chill. It was nice to be quiet for a minute. John, what else you got on the list? Wrapping your list up.
I'm gonna say, so I'm gonna go kind of again back to practical travel tips of it, if you will, and that is, and I'm pretty sure, you don't correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last time I was in Tatooine Traders, so the gift shop for Star Tours, you can still build or construct your own lightsaber. So this is not, so for the listeners, this is not the $200+ experience that you get in Galaxy's Edge, that you have to, over at Savi's, that you have to get a reservation for and all this kind of stuff. But, if you do have young kids and, they want to have, they want to have something to take home that you're not as worried about, getting broken or in transit or something like that. Take them over there. It's fun. They can still kind of put it together the way they want. It's not the more, showy, I guess, all immersive experience that you would have at Savi's, but it can still give you some of that feeling, I think. So, don't overlook that. Not a lot of people know that, because you kind of hear, okay, everything to do Star Wars, except for maybe this right out here called Star Tours is over there, So you've got, the droid building shop, you've got the lightsaber experience, you've got all the different restaurants and everything, but that's kind of one little thing that you could do, at a somewhat reasonable price.
And it makes sense too, because if my kid spends $229 on a lightsaber, I don't want him to play with it ever. He's going to sit. So I'm going to hang it on the wall. If I spend $33 on a lightsaber, I don't want to break it. But if he breaks it, it's like, all right, that's fine. Whatever. You don't get another one until next time. And so, so that's a good point, because I had forgotten about that. Was that they were still doing the lightsabers? That is a really good point. So good call on that one. Jen, you got anything else left on your list?
Yeah, one little thing. It's a little thing. Frozen Coke. You can get frozen Coke in Hollywood Studios, and I've just discovered at 2 different places.
Okay.
2 places. One is right underneath the Eddie Valiant, like right around that corner there. Yeah, you can get one there. And then there's one by Rock and Roller Coaster. I had no idea.
Really?
I was with my friend. Did that little like off to the left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Well, if you're entering, looking at the guitar, off to the left, there's like little thing. They have frozen Coke. Or frozen lemonade. It's like, what just happened?
When it's 1,000,000 degrees at Disney, hey.
It tastes so good when there's 1,000,000 degrees at Disney.
Oh, yes, it does.
I was like, what the heck? 2 places for frozen Coke. So there you go.
Well, if you're in Starbucks, which the line is always long, but if you're in Starbucks, make sure you get yourself a carrot cake cookie. They're about the size of my head. They're like $6, and they're so good. I have yet to finish one because they're so sweet, but they're so good. But if
originally from the writer's stop.
Yes, that's true. If you don't want to go to Starbucks because the line is running all the way down the road, find a Joffrey's Coffee. There's a location there, and it's actually perfect because as you're walking towards Toy Story Land, you see that Toy Story Mania line all the way back, and you're like, you know what? I know this line moves fairly fast, but it's a long line. Why don't I stop right here and get me an iced coffee and a cinnamon roll, and then I'll get in this line to cool off a little bit. Or I'm going to get in Slinky Dog where the sun is approximately 144 degrees. And it's like 2 umbrellas in the whole thing for shade. And so I don't know who thought that was a good idea. But
I think they may have added one more. I don't know, but
there were like 4. There were like 4 umbrellas when I was.
There was like an Imagineer from the equator that was like, it's not going to be too hot here. In my country, it gets 144. 97 is nothing. We don't need shade. And so I don't know. But yeah, make sure you get some coffee there, a snack, whatever as you get in line for that, or for Slinky Dog if you dare to stand in line for Slinky Dog that long. John, a couple of questions for you. I know that your latest episode, which I have not heard, by the way, it was last week, so I'm getting to it, I promise. It was for first timers, first timers tips. Give us 1 or 2 first time tips that you heard that people were giving to you as well, that you thought were like, you know what, these are great tips for first timers about anything for the parks.
I would say some people don't know that that there's an app for Disney, the My Disney Experience app, with all the things surrounding it, the improvements and improvements, that if you want to call it that, and just the different things that are constantly changing. There's a lot that you can do with it, and take some time, be intentional about taking some time, familiarizing itself, not just using it to figure out how to get in a boarding group for Rise of the Resistance, but the Disney My Magic, mobile, how to access your photo passes, how to look up the park maps and wait time to get into your room, using it for the room key feature, the mobile ordering. So it does a lot of things. And I think that can be one of the things that, if you're familiar with it, can be a great asset to you if you are going to the parks for the first time. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is, don't get overwhelmed. You're probably saying like, okay, I'm going to have fun. You're paying boatloads of money to go. It's especially if this is like, because I'm sure y'all have worked with folks like this where they're going for this like once in a lifetime kind of experience. They may never go back. So when you get there, don't just boom, hit the ground running and go straight to that attraction. Just take it in if you can. Or at least pick out a moment during the day to soak in the things like the windows, like we were talking about earlier. I mean, those are the things you're going to miss, the details that are around there. Now, if you've got, 4 screaming kids like we do when we go into the parks, that may not be super realistic, but, there are things that are there, I think, in the details for all ages. So just pause, take it in, have a good time. I always tell people, you're going to encounter the unexpected, and just remember your why when you go, and just have a good time. Stay forward focused and keep moving, even if you hit one of those hiccups, and you'll create some great memories and take them back home with you and look back on them fondly for a long time.
That's a good point.
That's very
Like,
good.
it makes me think about Universal. They just don't have the history. Like, everybody loves Universal. I like Universal quite a bit. I love the rides and I love the attractions and a lot of things going on there. But you don't stop and look around Universal going, oh, look at this great, Shrek display. They had this for the movie. Nobody does that. And nobody walks around and goes, that's where they filmed, Minions Part 4. Nobody does that. I mean, that's because they don't have history. They just have rides, which is fine. Six Flags has rides. I like Six Flags, but I don't, look at their history of their stuff. So you're right. I mean, there is a taking in of this as you're there kind of thing. Now, Jen has this problem too. She has no children, but she has a lot of 10 screaming travel agents whenever she takes us on a trip to Disney World. So that's always fun. Yeah. So you got,
and they're like adult children, which when adult children scream,
would y'all shut up? I'm trying to look at a window.
Come on.
John, where can we find you on the vast, wide interwebs?
I'd say the best place to find me is I'm super active on Facebook. Like David said, I have this sort of question of the day thing I do every Tuesday, just kind of as a primer for the show in a way, but also just to generate some conversation. And I love interacting with people there. I do have a Travel Tips Tuesday Facebook page. If you want to watch, there's more video content there than there is on YouTube at this point. So yeah, just find me on Facebook. I'm friends with Dave and Jen both, and thank y'all for having me on and giving me this opportunity. Kind of took a while to get it together, but
hey,
all good.
We got it there.
All good.
Yeah.
Well, I do have one final question though, and you're the first person in 66 episodes, whatever, that we've done this at the end of the show for, because we forgot to do it. John, how did you Disney this week?
Ooh, great question. So I bought some flights for my next trips down to Disney in, I guess October.
The first, maybe?
No, not those. I've had those flights for a while.
Okay, good.
Gotcha. I'm actually no. Let's see. This is November. I'm sorry. So I'm going down in November, and then I'm also working on a Disneyland trip in mid-October. So 2 weeks after I'm there for the 50th, I'll be in California.
Nice.
So I'm there for a conference, but I'm tacking on a couple of days in Orange County to hang out. So
very nice.
And I'm drinking up water out of my old school Animal Kingdom Lodge Mara mug.
Ooh,
there
it is.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Anyway, I've had this a very long time, but
very cool.
It's one of the ones my wife did. I did not let her get rid of during our Disney mug purging. So
Disney mug purging. Nobody likes that, but it's got to be done.
Occasionally.
Occasionally, you're like, I've got 74 mugs. I'm going to knock this down to 55, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. So, John, this has been fun, man. I'm glad we finally got to have you on, buddy.
Likewise, really appreciate y'all. Thank you.
I'll catch you soon. And so that is our show, folks. Super nice guy. John is
Such
just
a nice guy. Oh my
nicest
gosh.
guy. I've met this guy in person a couple times. We've had lunch. Just the nicest, most humble, just guy. He's the kind of guy that you want all your friends to be like. Just super cool, dude. So definitely go check out his podcast as well. And Jen, where can we find you online?
Find me at Upon a Star Jen, or my that's on all platforms. And then at Jen_Novotny is my personal Instagram.
Very cool. You can also hear me and find me on the Magic on a Dollar on Instagram. I got a new series on Instagram right now, the 50 Memories in 50 Days. Every day I'm doing a memory from something that I've done, something my friends have done, a lot of travel agents have done, clients that I've sent everything, great pictures and everything. So I'm posting a lot of pictures up there, just
It's really
fun
cool.
stuff. It's a really cool little walk down memory lane for the next 50 days. We're on day 44, I believe. And I posted a picture of my kid and his grandfather smiling at each other on Barnstormer. And it's the cutest income picture. It's so fantastic.
Oh, that's
so
adorable.
that's a definite memory. Find me on Facebook at Disney on a Dollar and at Magic on a Dollar. By the way, I am less than 20 people away from 7,000 likes on Disney on a Dollar. So please, I would love that. So come find me there. And of course, I also have another podcast called The Deucecast Movie Show. We are working our way towards 500 episodes. We are 494. And we released an episode, which was today when we record this, or yesterday when you're hearing this particular podcast. It's hysterical. It's one of the funniest things I've heard in a long, long time. We have some couple of guests on, including a surprise guest that pops in out of the middle of nowhere, which you almost were on, but you relate to it. So it's a great episode. But come find me there as well. And find a show, the MSE Podcast. That is the phrase that pays magic, love, and pixie dust. You can find us online at themsepodcast.com. At Gmail is our email address. Find us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We're all of those places. Come like us and follow us. Share the show. Subscribe to the show. Like the show. Tell people about the show. This is how the show grows. And finally, since we're doing our upkeep here, shout out to our quasi-producer, Heather, at the Moana Mom on Instagram. One of the hosts of the Mama Mouse Club as well. We're going to have them on the show really soon. 3 incredibly funny, incredibly Disney-centric ladies. Of course, Heather's daughter does Quack Chat. Daughters do Quack Chat, which is hilarious. It's a 10-minute video of a couple little girls talking about Disney, which is
so cute,
adorable, hilarious, all at the same time. It's so I feel like my computer YouTube channel has diabetes when I'm done with that because it's just so daggum syrupy sweet. But it's not like ironically syrupy sweet. It's just sweet. It's just really good. Make sure you go follow that. So that's it, Jen. Thanks for joining us once again. Guys, thank you so much for being out there. You guys have a wonderful week. Don't forget to go follow John, follow Jen, follow myself. And hey, thank your Phoenicians.
Thank you for listening to the Main Street Electrical Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the MSE Podcast, or visit our website at themsepodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe, and may all your wishes come true.